We are live.
Okay. I'll call the public hearing meeting Monday, June 9th, 2025 to order. At this time, I'll introduce everybody. So to my left is acting CAO Sylvie Hubinoff, Councillor Patricia Reed, and Councillor Paul Marcel. And on my right-hand side is Deputy CEO Laura Favreau, Councillor Justin Stanberry, and Councillor Andrew Whitesell. And the people speaking on this today will be Carl Sturgeon. Okay.
So I'm going to read a statement regarding the purpose of and the procedures for the public hearing for Village of Canal Flat zoning bylaw number 215/2019, amendment bylaw number 287/2025, IT industrial technology zone. This is a council considering amendments to the IT zone. The amendments to the bylaw are as follows. A cannabis production facility is a permitted use and outline the regulations for the use in the zone. Cannabis production facility means a facility for the cultivation, processing, packaging, testing, storage, destruction, or distribution of cannabis or cannabis-related products as permitted under the Cannabis Act as amended from time to time, but excludes cannabis retail sales. No cannabis production facility may be located within 300 meters of any lot that has a residential use as a principal use. Cannabis production facility may use modular or prefabricated structures, such as shipping containers, provided they meet all federal regulations and local development standards, including odor control, environmental management, and building fire code compliance. The bylaw would also reduce the minimum parcel area from 2 hectares, 5 acres, to 0.4 hectares, 1 acre, and the minimum setbacks would be amended as follows. The front lot line setback from 7.5 meters to 4.5 meters, the rear lot line from 6 meters to 3 meters, the interior side lot line from 6 meters to 3 meters, and the exterior side lot line from 6 meters to 3 meters, and the same for the accessory building. I will now read a statement from the chair. This public hearing is being convened pursuant to Section 464 of the Local Government Act in order to consider the following bylaw. Village of Canal Flat zoning bylaw number 215/2019, amendment bylaw number 287/2025 IT zone. Council for the Village of Canal Flats has given first and second readings to the bylaw and directed this public hearing to be held. Any person who deems their interest in property to be affected by this bylaw shall be given the opportunity to be heard at this meeting. The proposed bylaw number 287 will add cannabis production facility as permitted use and outline the regulations for the use in the zone. The minimum parcel area will be reduced to 0.4 hectare, 1 acre. The setbacks for principal and accessory buildings will be reduced as mentioned. If approved, the amendments will change the bylaw for all properties designated in the IT industrial technology zone. Here's the overview for the public hearing procedure. You will be able to ask questions of village staff and council. Any person who believes that their interest in property is affected by the proposed bylaw will be given an opportunity to be heard. It is not a question and answer period. It is not an opportunity to debate the merits of the proposed bylaws with either council members, staff, or those in the audience who may be opposed to your particular view. However, no one will be or should feel discouraged or prevented from making their views known. Members of council may ask questions of you following your presentation for clarification. However, the main function of council members this evening is to listen to the comments presented and not to debate the merits of the proposed bylaw or any comments presented. After this public hearing has concluded, council may, without further notice, give whatever effect council believes proper to the representations made at this hearing. Once the public hearing is closed, members of council cannot take any further input regarding the proposed bylaw and will then deal with the bylaw during a subsequent meeting of council, which in this case is tonight. Any person who wishes to comment on the proposed bylaw should stand up behind the podium and begin by clearly stating your name and civic address, and then present your comments. If you have submitted a letter, there will be no need to recite or read the letter at the public hearing. Council has received copies, which they will read prior to making their decisions. You are welcome to speak if you have additional information that is not in your written submission. The chairperson will call for presentations 3 times. Please note that if you do not indicate yourself as, please note that if you do not indicate yourself, as you will miss your opportunity. Each speaker will have 3 minutes allotted to speak. And,
okay, I will now have first call for people regarding the proposed bylaw. Please come up to the podium and state your name and address. And
my name is Diana Reek, and I live at 8932 Granger, post office. We own the building. I'm concerned because of the smell coming from that. I've read a lot of stuff online. There is not a lot of regulations in Canada regarding it. They say the VOCs, or the volatile organic compounds, float in the air, and they're detrimental to health. It says it can pollutant associated with respiratory and cardiovascular diseases and related deaths in humans. Don't sound too good to me. The growing season for pot is they have 4 growing harvests a year, and it says here, it typically they have 4 harvests a year, which typically last 4 to 5 weeks before harvest. It smells, and subsequent processing, which can take another 3 to 4 weeks. So 9 out of every 12 weeks, right? 4 months. Yep. These smells are distinct, and they've been floating around in the air. I sleep with my window open most of the year. I don't need that, and I have asthma to be on top of that, so that wouldn't be a good thing for me. And I also read online where it says the smell can permeate about 1 mile around. It says the facility that grows about, and they're using 1,700 cannabis plants. A facility that grows about 1,700 cannabis plants can emit the same odor concentration as a livestock operation of about 30 pigs or about 1,600 chickens. So although the smells are not the same, the cannabis plant may be equivalent to about 1 chicken with respect to the intensity of the odor it produces. I'm just thinking in terms of if this town wants to have tourism, that might not be a good thing. It might scare people away from coming here for these things. Most of the chemicals that are emitted react quickly to the atmosphere. Some of these can influence the formation of ultrafine particles and ozone to ground level, which are harmful to people in the environment. Okay, there's a daycare right across the street here from that. I think that might be a consideration. Children are really susceptible, especially if they're outside a lot, which they seem to be in the summertime. I'm just concerned about the odor and effect on my health in particular, and also our neighbors. It scares me a little bit, more than a little bit. So I guess that's pretty well all I had to say.
okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm Edie Pollock, live at 8918 Granger Road. And where our property is, I always thought that was downtown. Just consider having industrial downtown. That is not fair. I don't know what it's going to do to our property. We're very scared of that.
Yeah.
The smell concerns me too. The daycare right there. You had grandkids there, I'd be horrified. Just very much oppose it. I don't think we should put industrial downtown. Thank you.
Well, 8787 Tamarack Street. I ask each of you of council, do you currently have information required to responsibly approve this application? We have you the following in place? Is there updated master plan from the component, meaning fire as you have my current letter? Is there an impact assessment which be a standard and should be a standard for any cannabis rezoning or land use change? Anytime there's a land use change of any type, there should be some kind of master impact assessment done. Okay. As well, a comprehensive environmental or hydrogeological assessment should be in place, and this should be done by an independent person outside of the component. A formal review of best practices for cannabis production in municipalities should be in place. A full development permit conditions, including water and sewer module required. Have we looked at what's going to happen with the water and the sewer? Where's this all coming from? Where's the water coming from to irrigate? Where's it going to go to? We are aware from the GARP report that our community is non-confined aquifer is directly connected to surface activity and highly vulnerable to contaminants and wastewater discharge and infiltration. Cannabis production wastewater often contains nutrients such as pesticides, salt, and organic waste, posing significant threat to municipal and private drinking waters and wells. Aquatic ecosystems and our public health, especially for the vulnerable people, the young and the pregnant ladies. It's also been shown that it does affect them. Okay, this is stuff that and is at this time adding more buildings to this commercial building. We know that commercial, their fire protection has to be a lot more better than residential. Is that up to standard? Have you guys as component or council members know that this is in place before you're going to have this development go on? This is all the stuff that has to be done. Another one I thought of today: if there happens to be a fire on this, do we have to have an evacuation order for the whole community? What's in the atmosphere? Does our fire department have the capabilities of fighting this type of fire? So this is all things that I think should be in place before you ever make the decision and going forward with this. Okay.
Jerome Frowen, 8918 Granger Road. A lot of things that Bill says are very, very true. But what is this going to bring for the benefit of Canal Flats? Nothing I can see, except for we got enough problems in Canal Flats right now. We got a water system, we got a sewer system that's failing, yet we keep adding stuff to it. What's going to happen if this plant goes on to the sewer system? We don't have enough room for this. I think all buildings should stop until we investigate what's going on with our sewer system. And that should be for the residents of Canal Flats, not added. We should get the residents of Canal Flats up and running before we start adding anything else in. Besides that, it's going to be in my backyard. I did not sign up for this. I love my backyard. I love looking at the hill. I love watching the deer in the morning. I love watching the cougar that comes around every day. We class that as industrial. What's all that's going to do to that? I love Canal Flats, but I don't love the way it's going. I don't like it, and I don't think this will bring any benefit to Canal Flats at all. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi there, Carl Sturzer, 471 Bailey Growman Avenue, speaking in favor of the proponent. So I think it's important to point out two things. Tonight's meeting, there's a summary for information for zoning amendment to the bylaw 287. One is for lot size, and one is for the marijuana grow facility. So I think it's really important to say there's two strings. First of all, the lot sizes in the industrial area were originally developed during the OCP. And at that time, there was the thought that 5-acre parcels would be good for the industrial lands. And I'll just remind people, in case some people misunderstand where this is going. So the last gentleman that spoke, the facility, for example, for marijuana is over 1 kilometer away the downtown book in their place. These industrial lands, as everybody knows in the room, I would say have been in play for many, many, many years. And so since Canfor left here in the village of Canal Flats, we're in a situation now where you have all this industrial land, and currently you can only subdivide a lot that is down to 5 acres in size. 5 acres is a lot that is incredibly large for most industrial in today's day and age, especially when you talk about companies that are looking at small startups and need space to do so. 5 acres is just too much land. So trying to maximize what that looks like for Canal Flats is one of the things that are on the board today. And the other is for the marijuana grow. I can't speak completely to the marijuana grow facility, but I think there's somebody in the audience, I know there is, Bill Ruth, who's the proponent on that, can speak a little bit more clearly to that tonight. So I think that this is a great opportunity for the village of Canal Flats on the industrial lands to be able to provide a bit of an array of land holdings that are attractive to investors in the village of Canal Flats. I think that it's important to look at the fact that tonight this is just an amendment to the bylaw. There's not a subdivision actually asked for tonight. So further to this meeting, there would be a subdivision proposal that would go forward, and then that gets hashed over the coals as to what that looks like, how many lots is suitable for council, issues like water and sewer at that time. Tonight is strictly about an amendment to the bylaw that would allow down to 1 acre parcel sizes. And that is really important in the master planning for this entire subdivision, to be able to say what could go in and what couldn't. So I just want to clarify a couple of those points for tonight. Appreciate being heard. Thank you.
Anybody else to speak for the first time?
Hello, everybody. My name is Philip Rue. I'm from Cranbrook, British Columbia. I'm here today in favor of this application. I really appreciate all the concerns you guys brought up. I don't want you to think that I'm not listening. These are all very common concerns that people have, whether it's in Canal Flats, in Cranbrook, or anywhere else. Nationally, cannabis was federally legalized, with all of these concerns brought to the various council members and various authorities to legalize it. Now, the one point that I really wanted to address was the smell. And for the asthmatic lady here on the right, I'm also asthmatic. And part of the reason that I've developed this proprietary method to cultivate cannabis is so that I don't have these effects permeating, these smells permeating throughout the entire community. The whole point of utilizing shipping containers that are sealed, entirely sealed, allows me to contain and mitigate the odors inside of the unit. In my existing facility in the industrial park of Cranbrook, I've had to utilize air filtration devices. And because I'm bringing air from outside and venting, bringing air in and moving it out, yes, those odors are prevalent. You can drive down the industrial road in Daikar's facility when their filters need to be changed. Everybody knows, you can smell it. But it's a huge facility. And by having small self-contained rooms, the odors with the proper tools inside of the sealed container allows me to mitigate this smell. So my goal is to not even know that there's any odors by that daycare 1.5 kilometers away. And to address another point, what benefit is there? Well, I think a little bit of misinformation might be at hand here, because this is it's a closed loop system where I'm farming cannabis organically and repurposing all of the inputs for agricultural food production. So there's a step that you guys seem to not understand or not be made aware. There's going to be greenhouse attachments to these containers, hoop house, if you will, like any greenhouse that you see. And the byproduct, all the concerns you have for the nutrient runoff, which is just water, because I'm organically farming, there's inputs in the soil and the cocoa. And these inputs are going to be repurposed for various produce. So you pass water through the pots, and once the cannabis is harvested, you repurpose the cocoa and the water. It's just like it comes from the tap, right? Now this water I plan to refeed, so I'm going to catch it in my containers. I'm going to store it in a tank, and then I'm going to feed it to the agricultural crop. So you kind of kill two birds with one stone. And the third point I want to address is, what benefit is there for the village of Canal Flats? Well, last time I checked, there's not too many jobs around here, and I'm proposing to create about 4 jobs per module. I plan on expanding 4 times. And so there's about 15, 16 jobs that I would like to create, good paying jobs. Because the beauty is, you can pay a cannabis wage for an employee to work, let's say 6 hours a day, and then they can work another 2, 3, 4 hours of overtime if they want, doing the agricultural crops. And now we've got subsidized produce. You know, it's quite a it's an innovative way to cultivate cannabis, and with all these facilities throughout the province being set up in such a way that you can't repurpose any of the waste because they're big, and they have, like, in Cranbrook, for example, it's about 300,000 square feet, so they just can't have it on site. Whereas here, you know, we could take this byproduct and repurpose it with a greenhouse and grow produce. So, I mean, I hear all your concerns. They're the same concerns that everybody has throughout the province, everywhere, and across the country. And the reason I'm here today is because I believe that I found a way to mitigate all of these concerns, incorporate employment in the community, and not be a detriment. I actually want to create jobs, because at the end of the day, nobody's going to come here if there's no work. You know, that's the reality of why I'm here today. So I want to thank you all for your time, and that's pretty much all I have to say.
Go ahead.
Have you had any complaints from people around your industrial zone about the smell that's in your operation within Grand Rapids?
When my filters are bad, I'm told, change your filters, and I change the filters, and that's it. But I'm such a small operation, and I've actually shown some members of your council what it is at the scale, and it doesn't smell. Like, it's not in your face pungent odors. Like, you have to be a very, very big facility, and you have to have outdoor crops for it to permeate throughout everywhere. Like a self-contained, you gotta remember, guys, like, people were growing cannabis in houses for years before it was legal, and a lot of people didn't know what was going on. It was right in their backyard. So obviously there's smell mitigation tools, okay, that exist that can be used. I mean, those are the facts. There's no denying it. So my operation, because I'm moving air in and out, if the filters get tired, I guess, I change the filters, and that's the way to go. But with this, it's all self-contained. So that's the beauty of the containers. It's all self-contained, so there's no outside air.
Can you remind me of the address of your facility in Grand Rapids?
Yep, 800 Industrial Road 2, Unit H. It's in the basement of an electrical wholesaler. So, I mean, there's tons and tons of traffic that come on a regular basis. And it's not once affected their business. The only place that sometimes it smells is in the office, where the piping for the exit goes. So it's not like it smells in the lobby of the electrical wholesaler. It's in the back corner of the office where they ran the ductwork from the bottom of my unit coming up and going inside. So, you know, that's where the filters come into play. And solving that problem is you just don't move the air outside. And plants, believe it or not, they expel oxygen and they eat CO2. So you can just supplement the CO2 via tanks. And, you know, the fire risk is negligent, because the only thing that survives fires are shipping containers. So it was just on the news yesterday. I believe it was in, don't quote me on this, but there were somewheres in maybe Winnipeg or Ontario, there's some fires that went through, and people survived the fire by hiding in a shipping container. So you can look it up. It's really, it's an innovative way to cultivate cannabis, which nobody else is really doing in the legal market, and I think it has a lot of advantages.
Thank you. The second call for submissions, and
Do I need to state it again?
no, go ahead.
Again, all these amendments that are going on, I just don't understand why we're even considering them. Like, bringing businesses to town. I've lived here for an awful long time. I've seen a lot of changes, some good, some bad. I don't see amending anything or bringing anything into Canal Flats like this is a good idea at all. Because it's just gonna bring more problems. And like I stated before, we have enough problems in Canal Flats dealing with our water and especially our sewer, which should have been fixed years and years ago. And it's still not there. I think we should be developing that before we look at anything else that happens in Canal Flats. Now let's get this straightened out first before we go into another venture, maybe somewhere's down the road. But let's get the Canal Flats fixed up the way we should be, so that maybe we can expand. But right at this moment, I'm opposed to everything to the amendments or the pop. It just shouldn't happen at this time.
Yeah, thank you.
And as for Mr. Sturger's statement there, I'm not confusing anything. I don't want pot and I don't want industrial. Would any of you like industrial in your backyard? I don't think so. I'm very, very afraid of that. I don't want any of it. And as my husband said, our sewer is up so bad and we don't have the money for that. Yeah, we're building. It's wrong. Please consider it. Thank you.
I'll make one amendment for Carl. Being an ex-council member, I'm all for a business, I'm all for all. As long as it's done properly, okay? I've done amendments on bylaws when I was in council. And what I found out after the fact is once you do an amendment to a bylaw, it's totally out of council's hands. Totally, you no longer have any say. But this is in place. I could totally support it if the subdivision was in place first, because right now this amendment goes to the whole property. And if that property does not get subdivided, that whole property right now under the new amendment could be all cannabis. And you will absolutely have no say in it. So let's subdivide first, put all the proper infrastructure in first, then we can move forward. But once you approve this amendment, it's out of council's hands.
Okay, I'll call for a third and final call for anybody who wants to come up and speak to the amendment.
Exactly where is this cannabis plant supposed to be situated? Like, my understanding was it's right next to our buildings. Like,
No. It's quick, well, go ahead.
Thank you. There should, if you have the map.
we didn't get the letter.
It is in, may I?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
There's, see that line there?
Yeah.
It's in this corner here. Not here. Over here. Okay, that was the original, yes.
But yeah, like I said, though, I did read that it permeates like a kilometer in every direction. Yeah. And I just think the fact that marijuana could then be this whole thing scares the bejesus out of me. That's a lot of volatile, the VOCs in the air. We have a lot of kids here that like to play outside. I'm afraid for them. I don't have any children. But I look around at all the kids playing here. That's a little too close for me. I might be speaking out of turn here, but I understand that the gentleman applying for this cannabis thing had applied for something in Kimberley and was refused. I just heard that. I don't know if that's fact or not, but why was he refused in Kimberley? I just really think we ought to think about our community, because I think this is just asking for health issues here. And I don't think anybody wants that. I mean, would you want your kids being near that? I certainly wouldn't want mine. That's all I can say.
Yeah, thank you.
Ready for me again?
I'm ready for you again.
Well, something that nobody else is.
One second.
Is this the third to last one?
It's third and last call.
Nobody's brought up the issue of security and what we need to secure all this to. It's fine, you have a grow up in Cranbrook, you have a police station there. We don't have nothing around here. Pretty close to our area. You never know what it's gonna happen. In today's society, it's not like it used to be. There's more crime out there today than I've ever seen in my life. What's it gonna do to our small town for that? It's something to consider. We don't know that. So maybe we better have some damn good security or don't have it at all. Because I am opposed to everything that's been brought up tonight. Amendments and the pot shop. We do not, again, I'm going to repeat this, and I can't say it long and hard enough. We got enough problems in Canal Flats. Let's deal with some of the problems that we got now. And once we get those done, maybe let's move on. Thank you.
I would really like to know how this affects our property. When we go to sell, we've got industrial in the back. Does that deplete our property? I would really like to know this. Like, I'm scared of that.
You have industrial there now.
No.
We have commercial. No, since when?
Yeah,
I'd like to know when they changed it. If
yeah,
it
they
is
changed it, we don't know.
It's always been industrial.
Since
It's
when?
never been industrial.
No, I'm gonna.
It's where the mill was. Was industrial.
No, my property.
Oh, no, your property, okay, sorry. I thought you meant,
Commercial.
okay, yes, okay. Go ahead.
It's not a debate.
Yeah.
No, but just consider, I wanna know what's gonna happen to my property. If somebody could tell me that, great. And again, would any of you guys like industrial in back there? I don't think so, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Last time?
My name's Jeff Blake, 8932 Granger Road. I've been here I've been on site since 1972. 1972, I lived on Luck Avenue, and the neighbor decided I was a criminal. I was gonna destroy his lifestyle and his family, a 3-year-old girl at the time, because I had 4 pot plants growing in my window. So 7 cops came out, the guns came out, they took me to Invermere, they threw me in jail, and they decided that I was a criminal at that time. Here it is, 50 years later, that we look at it, and yes, Canada's a lot more liberal, but we turn around and if you pass this amendment and not really investigate it to make sure that we're all protected, that the citizens, the town, and the people, that's criminal too. That's just how it works out. It needs to be investigated to make sure that this is good for everybody. And that's the way to make it work out. Judge Stick gave me a $400 fine. We'll all be in a position of being a lot worse off if this isn't the right thing to do. So investigation and make sure that we all are happy and working together as a team. Thank you.
Carl Sturzer, 4720 Bailey Drummond Avenue. I just want to really put a pin in one thing, which is, it's been mentioned a number of times tonight that this is going to be a change in industrial boundaries. And it's not. The industrial boundaries do not change. The mill site, which is what we're talking about, has been industrial for decades and decades and decades. That's not changing. And I just want to be really clear on what that looks like. Thank you.
Good.
Member British Columbia. I just want to address one other issue here because and this might let you sleep better. I can assure you with 100% certainty, everybody, that this will not occur on the land as it is today. I have to submit applications to Health Canada, and I'm not going to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars into somebody else's property. The whole big picture here is that this land will eventually get subdivided, and I will have my own little piece that I own. I'm in negotiations with the landowner to make that a reality. We're working with the municipality to, and I'm not there, but I'm patiently waiting. And this is part of the process in order for the land to actually be allowed to cultivate cannabis. Now, to put it in perspective, an electrical upgrade is about $75,000. And I'm not in a position where I can invest that in a rental. And to address the other point, why didn't it work in Kimberley? Because the land that was proposed in Kimberley was the solar farm with tech. And guess what? I can't own it. So they want exuberance amount of rent. And I'm not in the business of throwing money in the garbage. I'm very patient and I will wait and find the right place. And I was under the impression that Canal Flats was going to be the right place. So I'm patiently waiting and you'll see. But these operations are not profitable. We're going bankrupt all over the country because people have gotten in over their heads. When you build any business, it's not cannabis, any business, and you spend more than you earn, guess what? You're a business. Maybe 1 year, maybe 2 years, but it's not gonna last. And the reason that I'm successful and I've been able to do this for a very long time is that I have one simple understanding. If your business does not generate more revenue than it costs you to operate, you're out of business. So at the base of all of this, that's why. And it's not just Kimberley. There's other parcels in the RDK that I've applied for as well. And it doesn't work there either for a number of other factors. One being that the lot sizes are too small. So again, it's a balance of having the right location with the right municipal authority, the right lot size, and the right partners in order for all this to work. And it's a lot harder than you think because it's not like you can just set up in a regular zone. You need three-phase power. So that's why the industrial zone, like the mill, is such an excellent spot because it actually has the ability to have the power there. The Bitcoin machines are all there already. So it's not a stretch to get more electricity in a zone that already is geared and zoned for that. When you're looking for three-phase lines, you're quite limited. So from Cranbrook, you're good to Owl's Nest. I don't know if you know where that is, but that's the RV park as you're going west. Then there's no more three-phase power until you get to Kings Gate going up to Goatfell. There's some going up Fort Steele, but it's not everywhere. So you have very limited locations around here because our infrastructure isn't as developed as, let's say, Kelowna or Calgary or any of these other places. And that's a big hindrance for small businesses like myself, because to go set up in one of these areas, you need millions and millions of dollars. And in order to do that, I mean, you're almost setting up for failure. So here in Canal Flats, with the proper subdivision and a smaller 1 acre piece with power close by and good water, all the checks are there. So that's the reason I'm here today, is because the village of Canal Flats has a lot of pros and not too many cons in my opinion.
Thank you. Okay, I will now be closing the public hearing, and we will be moving to regular council meeting. I know the hockey game's on.
Thank you for your time.
You guys are coming.